This is garbage. I'm never going to be published. I'm never going to get better. Why do I even bother? This time, episode 58 of Horrible Writing. Hey, everybody. Your host, Paul Sading. I hope this finds you well. So, this time around, I've been wanting to do this episode for a long time simply because of hanging around other writers as much as I have been lately and living through that dichotomy that is independent publishing or traditional publishing. False dichotomy at that. You don't have to be either or. But I find it fascinating, regardless of what level people take with their writing and what their goals and their aims are for their writing, how many people want to write, have tried to write, and somewhere along the process, it it drops, it fails. They don't fail. You don't fail unless you give up trying, but they just give up on that project. And maybe they do that with every project at a certain point. There's a lot of things that go into it, and I've talked about some of them on the show before. But there's one in particular I want to address now from my mindset, and I hope that it helps someone with a different mindset, a different outlook. So, writing can be tough. It's lonely. It's very lonely. And it is an incredibly intimate process to to explore story, whatever it is, nonfiction included, memoir, poetry, poems, fiction, nonfiction, exploring our themes and our characters' lives and the world that we've built for them is done with a particular bent, with a particular reason. There's reasons why we tell stories the way we tell them. And it can be tough just doing that alone. But doing it for over the course of an entire novel is daunting to say the least. And it's where most people fail. Most people have the momentum at the very beginning. Okay. And that makes sense. Everything is fresh. Everything's exciting. Everything's new at the beginning of your novel. It's brand new love, right? You've just gotten out of a bad relationship, a stale relationship, a boring, unrewarding relationship. And now there's this new thing. And wow, is this new thing exciting? I want more of that. It's that experience that gets us through the early phase of a new novel. It's very easy to be seduced by that story. But when we get into, that meaty middle, as one of my favorite writing podcasts likes to say, it can really bog down. We can bog down if we make it that far. And then we've got to find the energy to ramp it up towards that climax and that resolution. But in that process of plotting and planning and outlining and structuring and character development and then real life getting in the way, we run into walls and we sometimes lose the forest through the trees. And what I mean by that is we don't see the bigger picture. Everybody has their own writing goals. You have yours. Yours are not going to be similar to mine. Mine are not going to be similar to yours. You're going to be happy achieving one thing. I want to achieve something else. It's critical that we understand that for ourselves as writers, what ours is, especially as it applies to what I'm going to say next. I cannot tell you how many things I've written, full audio drama seasons, audio drama specials, poetry, some poems, um, short stories, blogs, work articles, novels that I've written just in the past year, we'll say, just from October of 2018 to, from 2007, October 2017. And in that time, and I can stretch that back longer. I joined my local writers group in the summer of 2017. But in that time of over a year, I have created and released dozens of projects. And I'm not talking about 2,000 word short stories. I'm talking about 40 or 50,000 word audio dramas, the length of a short novel, multiple projects each year. I don't say that as a brag. I just say that as my process that I have works for me. Yours may be different. Good. If we've got that established, now I want you to really take a hard look at yourself and your own processes. And I say that with this in mind. In the time that I've created all those things I have created, I have watched way too many, far too many writers squash the dream, lose the dream, be discouraged by the dream of writing, of publishing, because they get into this editing death cycle. I see it each and every writers group and it kills me. One of the things I do differently at my writers group than most of the people who go with me, they will be working on a project and it is their project and their sole focus. And they have been working on it and bringing it to the writers group for over a year now. I have been bringing a few different things. I usually bring one thing routinely, and that's a horror novel I hope to release next year. That's the plan. I'm really buckling down on it now. But I'm bringing that to the writers group because it's a first draft, and I get to bring it there and have them give me big picture story feedback that I want for my writing. I don't care about the copy editing. I don't care about, comma splices and bad grammar and misspelling. Not yet. It's the first draft. But I bring it there to them because I have been because I'm making progress on that as I go along while I work on other things that are higher priorities at the moment. And in that time, the vast majority of those folks, very talented folks, are bringing the same book that they brought a year ago. Often, far too often, they're bringing the same chapter that they've brought 4, 5 times. There's one person in particular who jumps out at my mind into my mind, and I don't think this individual has moved past chapter 3 of her very good fantasy novel that she was working on. She never gets past chapter 3 because you know what she does. She constantly goes after our writers groups. She'll take that feedback and she'll go back to her first chapter and she'll start editing again. Now, there are structural issues and there are things that could be taken care of with a little more plotting, but it's this need, I believe, and I've seen it in not just this local writers group, but online in the horrible writing writers support group on Facebook. If you're not there, you're really missing out on some amazing conversations. But I see this over and over with folks, and it kills me when people get into this death spiral because they can't see it just like a plane that's plummeting to the ground. They cannot pull themselves out of it for whatever reason. I'm not inside of someone's head. I cannot tell you why they do what they do. I'm not that type of person who tells you what someone else's motivation is. I can guess, but that's all it is me speculating. And I really believe it's this need to be perfect, this need to be at least somewhat respectable, regardless of where you are in your novel, in your creation. You can't put something too shabby out into the world. Everything, all the T's have to be crossed, all the I's have to be dotted. Whereas for me, and there are other people, thankfully, I know I'm not alone. As for me, it's not about that. It's about putting my butt in this chair and getting the writing done. And I'm working on my priorities. I have a number of stokes in the fire, working those priorities and taking this novel to writers group because I'm comfortable with that being a tertiary priority where they help me kind of shine up that first draft. It's a turd. Of course it is. It's a first draft. I'm not embarrassed. I don't care what they think about that first draft. I don't care if they think they're better or their writing is better, or even if they don't think that, but my writing just is crap. And they sit there, gonna have to edit that out. And they sit there and they wonder how in the world by the end of 2018 I'll have 3 books out. I'm never going to claim to be the best writer in the world. I'm sure not the worst writer in the world. I shared that with our group yesterday on Facebook, something I tripped across. Um, that's neither here nor there, but I'm comfortable knowing I'm not the worst writer in the world. There's somebody worse than me out there. But my goal was to publish 2 books this year, 2018. I will publish 3. 12 Deaths of Christmas, a horror anthology, will go live on Thanksgiving. You can pre-order it now, but you can get the digital book on Thanksgiving. You'll even be able to order the paperback before then. And Novel Idea to Podcast, How to Sell More Books Through Podcasting, my nonfiction book, is almost done. I'm wrapping up the recording of the audiobook in the next 2 weeks, cleaning that up in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and everything will be ready to go. So I may release 2 of them in November. We'll see. That was my goal. My goal is to get content out there. I've missed too many years playing the agent game, playing the real life game, waiting for real life to give me that convenient window to go do this thing. Real life is not going to give you that. It doesn't. It doesn't care. You have 24 hours, less than actually, a day. So do I. We both have the same amount of time. I'm a family person and I work full time. I don't get the cushy, plush life of being retired with enough money to survive. And I don't have a wealthy partner who's floating this writing dream of mine. I work 40 hours a week, sometimes at night, and I have all those podcasts and this. It's because I'm locked and loaded on that goal. I wasted too much of my life missing out on this thing that I really wanted to do. And I'm not going to miss out anymore. So that fuels me and it fuels me forward. I do my professional job. I edit a book as much as I can possibly edit it until I can't see anything anymore, until I can't see the problems in the book. And then it goes off to very expensive professional editing. I don't skirt that responsibility, right? I'm not just running through 10 or 15 or 20 rounds of edits myself and then throwing it on Amazon. There are professionals who look at it, beta readers, advanced copy readers who all look at this before a thing goes out. So I'm not half-assing this effort, but I am getting things out there because that's my goal. Your goal may not be to produce. I want to write full time. If you want to write full time in this marketplace, you better be one of the very, very, very few fortunate souls who wrote the right story at the right time. That's all it's really about. It's not about great writing. We can talk about a couple examples of werewolves and sadomasochistic boyfriends that will show you that you don't need to be a great writer to be a millionaire at this thing. You have to write the right story at the right time. That's what it's all about. For the rest of us who want to do this full time, especially people like me, writing in horror, that's not a, and then I really go follow that up strong with, well, for, subject found's Chasing the Demon book. The debut novel, Chasing the Demon, was more of a thriller, but it involves Bigfoot. So, I wasn't going to actually crush it with that one. And now I'm releasing a horror anthology of 12 stories. Single author name, me, not exactly a big household name, right? So I'm not exactly setting myself up, but I'm seeing the next year of what I'm doing, and especially 2020. I think 2020 is going to be the good year for me if I'm still alive. But for those of you who do want to do this, maybe you want to do this full time, you have to get content out there. You have to, which means you can't go into that death spiral. You cannot keep going back to chapter 1 and editing it to make it perfect before you move on to chapter 4 or 5 or 6. Now, I hear you saying, Paul, that's my process and it works for me. Okay, good. Again, I've got 3 books out this year. I'll have at least 3 out next year. How many will you have out? And I'm talking to the person who wants to do this full time. Okay. I'm not talking to a hobbyist or somebody who just wants to slow roll this. Maybe you're not looking to publish until 2020 or beyond, and you want that one book to be perfect, and that's what your goal is. Then fine. I'm totally okay with you going with that. But I also would encourage you to not get into that death spiral and not be okay with what you're writing. Give yourself that allowance to be a human being. To be human is to be imperfect. You're not going to create perfect prose. You could go through that book 30 times. There will always be something in there. Always. Stop going back. You have more stories in your head that need your attention, that need your love, and that the world needs to hear. So be okay with that. Give it your best effort. Bring your A game. Outline, plot, organize. So you write the story and you don't have to go rewrite things you should have put in an outline somewhere. Edit, 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 edit. Get beta readers, edit some more, send it off to your editor, professional editing, get it back, consider, analyze, tweak as necessary, get some advanced copy readers. You've had a ton of eyeballs on this thing before it goes to the world. And at that point, you have to be okay with what's out there. It's the best you could do at that time. If you care about writing, you're going to improve. Your craft will improve. And you will look at your earlier stuff and go, wow, not exactly something I want people reading, maybe. I even think about that as about chasing the demon. It definitely compared to 12 Deaths of Christmas. I'm much, much happier and much more comfortable with 12 Deaths of Christmas than I am with chasing the demon, even at this stage. And nobody's read it yet. So, and it's got some weird stuff in there, and I'm still comfortable with it. And I know that when I do something after 12 Deaths of Christmas, that I'll look back at 12 Deaths and go, oh, God. But that's okay. It was the best I can do at that time. And I'm okay with that because it's going to be out there. People will be buying those copies. I will be working my way toward establishing a fan base of readers who want more of my stuff in the future so that I can continue to do this and maybe someday do it full time. So if that's your goal, folks, I really encourage you. For me, it's a mindset. I truly believe this, and I truly believe all of us, hey, look, I'm real. I know we all come from different walks of life, and there are different things that the world has taught us about us. But I'm here to tell you that you need to flip that paradigm, flip that switch. It doesn't matter what the world thinks. It matters what you think. And you have to be okay with letting yourself be bad, whatever that means to you. Chasing the demon today would not be written the same as what it was out there. I'm not going back to that. It's out there. I'm moving on to the next thing because I'm excited about it. And this is helping me reach my goals. What can you do for yourself to give yourself that allowance to be bad, to be human? It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to write what you write. It's okay to admit that it's not perfect and there's some bad stuff in there, and you're going to fix it the best you can right now. A year from now, you'll already be working on that next thing and you'll be doing the same thing again. So you've got to develop that mindset. You have to be okay with that first draft being crap, but sit your butt in that seat, put those hands on that keyboard or dictation, however your process works, and get the full thing written. Stop going back. It's not making it better. It's stopping you from completing that thing. Stop going back. Get it done. And then in that editing process, it will become a beautiful thing. And those of you on the video feed just saw my tapestry fall. Oh, those the joys of live recording. Awesome stuff. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this is a kick in the ass that some of you needed to get your stuff done. I hear this more and more often, and it really does. It empowers me to continue with this message because I know my own drive. I know I can overwhelm people. I get that. I know people can look at my energy levels and it can be intimidating. And I don't mean to do that because I'm not all that and the box of chocolates. I'm not even a box of chocolates, but I care. And I'm not going to treat you like a child or give you platitudes. You've got to put your butt in that seat and you have to get that first draft done. Stop going back. Period. And dot. Now, with that fan friendly message, I want to remind you that we do have a Facebook group. So go on over to Facebook and type in or start searching for the Horrible Writing Writer Support Group. Come join us over there. Me or one of the mods will let you in that group. We've got great interaction all the time. We have homework assignments, and some of you who are in the group listening to this episode, get your homework assignment done. Also, 12 Deaths of 12 Deaths of Christmas, my horror anthology, is available on pre-order for digital. Next month, the paperback will be available as well. Make sure that you get yourself a copy of that. Please support the show. And this way, support me. I would really appreciate it. And plus, there's some great, cool humor in there, especially if you're an old Clive Barker fan. You might enjoy it. I really drew on my inner Clive Barker for that one. And I am doing a contest. So if you've bought a copy of 12 Deaths of Christmas, all you have to do is send me proof of your purchase, and I will enter you into a drawing for the author copy, the author proof copy, where I made all my notes and I put some neat little gee whiz factors in there for one lucky winner, which will be drawn on or after Thanksgiving. And of course, for those of you who are writers, the book coming out next month, my nonfiction book, Novel Idea to Podcast, How to Sell More Books Through Podcasting, is exactly that. It's an entry level book on how you starting your own podcast could be the key vehicle in selling more books today, tomorrow, and in those out years. So be looking for that. Be listening for more details on that as we get closer. I do want to ask you to leave a rating and review for the show on whatever podcatcher you use. Please help others find this show. Until episode 59, keep being epic.